The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
When you're out on the road, the last place you want to be is on the road. But if the unfortunate happens, you'll be glad you were wearing diamond gussets.
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch, guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
We turn jeans inside out. Diamond gusset jeans, made in the USA with unparalleled quality. Our Defender motorcycle jeans combine gusset comfort with Kevlar protection, so you can ride all day with confidence. Order yours at gusset.com. Diamond gusset jeans got it, others don't.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
Rallying patriots worldwide in defense of human liberty. It's Alex Jones.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction.
We're back on the Alex Jones Show live. David Knight in studio. I'm your host, Paul Joseph Watson. Alex will be back on Sunday. We've got breaking news up on Infowars.com. Report Liberians flood airport attempting to flee Ebola-struck country. This is an article by Kit Daniels. Liberians are apparently flooding Roberts International Airport in Harbel, Liberia, in an attempt to flee the Ebola-struck country, raising fears that more people infected with Ebola will fly into America. Elsewhere in this article, they talk about the visas being processed for Nigerians also going through the roof, skyrocketing. So it appears that this trend of Ebola tourism, which we talked about earlier, could indeed be coming to the fore. And, you know, if these Africans realize that they can get treatment in America, whereas in comparison in places like Liberia, people are literally dying on the streets, they're stumbling to get into hospitals which are completely overwhelmed, then it is an incentive to try and get to America to get proper medical treatment. Of course, earlier we covered the story out of Breitbart where the co-worker of the Ebola victim said that he admitted he had basically flew to America as part of a desperate attempt to survive. There you see the headline. So this individual went to America, by the looks of it, deliberately, according to his comments, to get treatment as, David Knight, an Ebola tourist.
You know, Paul, the part of what the media is selling in terms of telling people that we have some cure here called ZMapp, that's part of the fallacy that's going to be driving this. If by some chance he recovers, that's going to add even more impetus to it. And it was just yesterday that we had that doctor put on a full biohazard suit and go through the airports that, with written on it, the CDC is lying. And one of the things he said is, as this builds in these countries, there's going to be a lot of pressure for those people to leave those countries en masse and to go somewhere else where they believe that they will get better quality care. They're projecting, again, 500,000 to 1.5 million people, the CDC is projecting, in Liberia and Sierra Leone by January will have Ebola. That's about 5 to 15% of the population in those two countries. Once it gets to that point, they're already to the point where the government has essentially broken down in most areas there, and at least in Liberia. So these people are desperate to get out of there. They're being granted visas with no conditions. We can't have any quarantine conditions put on there. They're just allowing these people to come. This is political correctness to the most absurd extreme. When we see the director of the CDC saying that the right of return is more important than preventing the disease from spreading, I mean, what in the world is he talking about with this new right, this right of return? Since when has the American government ever been concerned about our rights when we're traveling? I mean, whether you're traveling by plane or by car or even crossing a border, they've maintained for the longest period of time that you essentially have no rights, that they're going to do anything that they wish to you. And yet we've got something called a right of return that trumps everything. What is this guy talking about? You have any idea? I don't have any idea what he's talking about.
It just doesn't seem credible, does it, that the feds are suddenly really careful and caring about our rights in the face of this potential Ebola outbreak. Whether they're trying to dampen down the hysteria by not blocking the flights remains to be seen, but their very incompetence and inaction has only created more hysteria. We're going to go to some of your calls now on the subject of Ebola. Mike in Maryland, you're on the air. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. And I tell you, that Syrian lady, she's one courageous person here. I wanted to bring, it's an honor to talk on your show, by the way. I wanted to bring something to your attention. This is from the Frederick News Post, dated October 1st. Frederick, you know, is the home of Fort Detrick, Maryland. Might remind the listeners here. The title of the article from the local paper is, Federal Decision to Bring Ebola Patient to Airport. And the article goes on to say that the decision to fly an American physician into Frederick out of the heart of the Ebola outbreak was made with little input from local officials. The State Department decided Sunday to fly the physician from Sierra Leone versus the guy from Dallas that came from Liberia. So he's from Sierra Leone to Frederick Municipal Airport. The doctor's identity is not known, but the person was exposed to the Ebola virus while volunteering for an aid organization. The National Institutes of Health has not yet confirmed or denied if the physician has contracted the deadly disease, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The virus has taken more than 3,000 lives in West Africa. The city has been working on a memorandum of understanding with NIH and Fort Detrick regarding procedures when the city airport is used to transport patients. Frederick Mayor Mandy McClement said, I can go on if you like. If you, I don't know.
No, we've got the article up. I've got it up. Local officials had 1 day notice before doctor exposed to Ebola flown to Frederick. So again, David, you know,
it's interesting that they'd fly him into that location where Fort Detrick is, because that's where they work on bioweapons. And there's been a lot of talk about the involvement of the U.S. military. Of course, the U.S. military is deeply involved with this ZMapp vaccine, which apparently doesn't look to be necessarily effective. It was given along with blood transfusions, and it's not clear that the two people who recovered from the blood transfusion, or did they recover from the ZMapp vaccine? They were given both of those things on the same day. And so it's not clear. In both of those cases, both the ZMapp vaccine comes with antibodies. In other words, it's not giving you a version of the virus that your body then reacts to and creates antibodies. No, they're injecting you with what they call plantibodies, because these are genetically modified organisms, antibodies that supposedly of Ebola that were grown in plants. But when he got the blood transfusion of an Ebola survivor, he was also getting antibodies from that guy's blood. So in both cases, he was getting antibodies. There were subsequently other people that were given ZMapp who then died. So it's not clear that that is a cure. But just talking about all this fear-mongering that's going on, that everybody's saying there's fear-mongering, there's panic about this. Look at the fear-mongering that goes on just a couple of weeks ago about global warming. People were marching by the thousands in streets of various countries and protesting, saying something needs to be done about global warming. Look, nobody has died from global warming. It's not something that can even be measured, according to most scientists. It looks like that's a trend that they're now saying it's a pause in global warming. Well, it didn't happen. They measured an increase in CO2, but their models that predicted a subsequent increase with temperature, that hasn't happened either. And yet, we have a real hockey stick here. You know, Al Gore is pushing the hockey stick that Michael Mann created, saying this is the end of the world. We do have a hockey stick going on with this pandemic in these countries, and people don't understand what to be afraid about and what not to be afraid about. They don't understand how to assess the risks, and that's what's really concerning me, is trying to get this information out, what people need to be concerned about, what the real threats are here.
Sanger in Texas, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, gentlemen. Thank you for having me. Just touching on the subject of Ebola and what Alex has been talking about lately about internet censorship. Right now on Instagram, if you try and type in natural feed, it's called Garcinia cola. If you try and type it in on Instagram, they won't allow you to actually post it. And certain friends of mine have actually had themselves logged out of their account and their password changed, and it happened to me as well. And so I just wanted to inform you and the listeners as well that there is censorship right now of our internet, and there is something that can stop the spread of Ebola that they're not letting us be aware of.
So you're saying that Instagram is censoring images related to Ebola or information?
Yes, if you try and post a comment, and I just tried to tag Barack Obama's official Instagram on it and send it to him, and Instagram will have a notification that comes up and it says that it goes against their policy and for the protection of users, and if you have a problem, you can either try and contact them or just dismiss it.
Okay, that's interesting.
Do you think they ever censored a picture of a lonely polar bear sitting on an iceberg? Do you think they ever censored that?
I would think that that would be okay.
Yeah.
George in California, you're on the air. Go ahead. George, go ahead. You're on the air. George is not there. Bob in Rhode Island, you're on the air. Go ahead. Do we have Bob? Dr. Gill on the line.
Do we have Dr. Gill?
Yes.
Is this the doctor that was in Atlanta protesting the CDC's lying?
That is correct.
Oh, thank you for calling in.
Thank you. What questions might you have? And thank you for giving me this opportunity to get the word out that Ebola is coming to America and the CDC has been sugarcoating it, or they're terribly derelict in duty and not predicting it.
So, Dr. Gill, obviously you hit the headlines yesterday. We have an article, doctor protests CDC by showing up at Atlanta airport in hazmat gear. CDC is lying. What was the first example of CDC incompetence in the aftermath of this Ebola outbreak that really raised your suspicions to the fact that they might be being dishonest about this situation?
It's happened the last few months. Any practitioner can connect the dots. There are 1 million people on the continent of Africa that are quarantined. 10,000 people leave West Africa a day. It's a matter of time before every third world country is seeded with this terribly deadly disease. They also share infrastructure of health that is in shambles, poor sanitation and distrust of the government, every country to the south of us. And once it becomes endemic in third world countries, as it will in Africa, we will be importing these cases on an hourly basis. Sure, we can tamp down this. We can stomp this Ebola out in Dallas. I have no question at all this cluster we're going to take care of. But what happened? It's already outstretched the ability of the Texas Health Department to responding. They're flying people from the CDC. But what happens when a dozen of these pop up? The CDC still doesn't have it. They say if another one shows up, it's when another shows up.
So let's play the video, if we have it, of the doctor at the airport yesterday. You showed up with, obviously, the hazmat suit on CDC.